Hey folks, welcome back to another video. This is basically a recording of a training of Google's agent development kit that I had carried out at an AI community recently. So this is a recording of the training, and the training was for about 90 minutes, and we talked about Google's agent development kit, the foundations, what it takes to build one small agent, adding tools to it, and doing wonders with it. Through this entire training, we went through two Google Codelabs. I'll be leaving those links in the description. You can check that out. We walked through those Codelabs. We learned the basics of ADK, how to build agents, how to install, how to get started, how to set up the entire environment to build smarter AI agents. In the end, as a bonus, I showed the viewers how we can use MCP Toolbox for databases to actually connect your data to your agent and build smarter AI agents there. And we also looked at multi-agent systems where we looked at different types of routings, what all is available, and what all is actually possible. I hope you enjoy the recording of the training, and I'll be leaving all the resources in the description. You can check that out. And if you're looking for trainings like these, I'll be leaving a Google form link in the description. You can check that out. Thank you. So we're going to start off with the agenda for the training. We'll start off with some introduction, understanding what are AI agents, where we are in the AI space as of now, and where we have come from and what's going to be the future. After which we'll dive into the foundations of ADK, Agent Development Kit, where we'll understand what it takes actually to build an agent using the Google ADK framework. We'll understand the basic requirements, what it's all about. After which, we'll dive into the two Google Codelabs. The first one's going to be the foundations of ADK. The second one's going to be empowering your agents in ADK with powerful tools. I'll be leaving both the Codelab links in the description. You can check that out. In the end, we have the next step section where we'll be looking at multi-agent architectures and seeing how multi-agents or a combination of different agents working together with the same goal. Additionally, we'll look at something known as MCP Toolbox for databases that allows us to connect our AI agents to real data. So let's get started. It's always good to know the evolution and in terms of where we were and where we are right now. We started off with some rule-based AI which had fixed logic, predefined rules, and a very limited space for customization, adaptability, and stuff like that. Next, we came on to machine learning where we were finally able to learn from data, make predictions, classification, image recognition, and more. In the late 2022, early 2023, we came across something known as generative AI, where we moved beyond prediction classification, we moved to generating content. We looked at generating text, images, videos, and much more using GPT, Gemini, Claude, and more. Now we are taking a different shift. We are moving beyond just generating content. We are moving towards acting, reasoning, perceiving in an environment automatically or autonomously. That's where AI agents come in. And what are AI agents? AI agents are goal-oriented autonomous software entities that act in the real world to achieve complex tasks. Let's take an analogy. Think of it as a smart assistant that can use tools to solve problems and not just answer questions and generate information. Now, the key components of any agent that you build are going to be containing a brain that's going to be your main LLM. Now, this LLM could be Gemini or any other LLM provider out there. The next is hands or tools. These are actions or Python functions or inbuilt tools provided by ADK that the agent can use to achieve its goals. These are actions that the agent can take based on an input received and provide an output to the user. You have memory and planning to store maybe chats, help storage, etc. This diagram beautifully illustrates the working of a simple AI agent where the user gives an input. The input straight away goes to the LLM, that's the brain or the model that's running there, and based on the tools that it has available. Let's say in this case it has tool A and tool B. Now based on the input, it selects a tool, it acts on that tool, and based on the tool acting, you get back an observation. Now in case that observation is the output the user is expecting, it's going to be passing that as an output or the final answer to the user. In case it's not, it might use another tool, do some other routing, and in the end give you a final answer. So this is the basic illustration of how an AI agent would typically work. Now, as a software developer, it's always good to know about all the other agent development frameworks out there other than the one that you're mastering in or you're currently learning.
I myself started off with LangChain when it had come out before ADK was released at the Google Cloud Next 2025. I started my journey with LangChain where I built agents with that. You have AutoGen, Crew AI, and even for JavaScript developers, you have Atomic Agents. And in the end, my favorite is Google's toolkit for building and deploying AI agents, that's Google's ADK. Now that we have understood what are AI agents, looked at the popular frameworks, it's good to now get started with the foundations of ADK. What it actually takes, or what are the main components it takes to build an AI agent with ADK. Now, Agent Development Kit is a flexible modular framework for developing and deploying AI agents built by Google. It is an open source framework that simplifies the entire process of creating custom tools and orchestrating multiple agent systems. The languages currently supported are Python and Java too. And the key features of ADK that I found while my few months of working with ADK was the multi-agent architecture, the rich tool ecosystem that's available, the beautiful way of local testing where you can do ADK web that gives you a UI, ADK run to interact with a particular agent. It's open source, it's leveraging Gemini API either from the Google AI Studio, you make the API key, or you have the Vertex AI part on the Google Cloud Console. Now the building blocks of ADK look something like this, where you have the main agent that defines the personality, capabilities, and the instruction set that the agent has. Now the capabilities could be these tools that comes next, that could be extended Python functionalities that you can use, or you use the inbuilt tools provided by Google ADK. Now the runner is the execution engine that orchestrates the agent's actions. Whereas session and artifact services manage the memory and temporary storage while you're interacting with the agent. And in the end, you have the event stream that captures the function calls, all the responses, and the final outputs. This diagram once again gives you a good ADK agent base that explains to you what it takes to build an agent with ADK. You start off with a basic name for the agent, after which you select a model. Now in the models part, it's not specifically or limited only to Google models. You can use Meta, GPT, Claude, and much more. After which you give it an instruction set. Now this instruction set, if your agent is a recipe generator, so the instruction set would be like, you are a recipe generator agent and these are the tools available. This is the typical input you would get. This is the typical output you would get. So everything that you can give to the agent that makes it understand what its goal is, what it's supposed to do, is known as the instruction set. Now once you're done with the instruction set, you move towards the tools section. Now the tools are going to be the hands or actions or Python functions that the agent can use to achieve its goal. Now these could be Google search tools that is already provided by ADK, or you build your own custom tools in Python. Now in case your agentic workflow requires multiple agents, you would have sub-agents under the main base agent which would orchestrate and control the entire flow of operations. So this diagram gives you a good stable understanding of what it takes to build an ADK agent. You have your name, model, the instruction set, the tools that the agent is going to use, and in case it's a multi-agent workflow, you have sub-agents under it. Now that we have covered the basics that looked at what is ADK, what are the building blocks, what it takes to build an agent, let's just dive deep into the first Codelab that's going to be building AI agents with ADK, the Foundations Lab. The prerequisites for this training are pretty simple: a Google Cloud account, right? And a simple GCP billing account that you have redeemed. If you go to this particular Codelab, there's a section for you to redeem a $5 credit that you can use to build AI agents, and a Google Cloud project on the console. Now, in case you don't want to click on the link in the description, you can pause here, scan the QR code, and open up the Google Codelab. So this is the first Codelab that we're going to be covering today. And we're going to be walking through this entire Codelab, understanding what it takes to build an AI agent with Google's ADK. You can see the prerequisites here are understanding basic generative AI concepts, basic Python proficiency, and a little understanding of the command line and terminal. Now what you're going to be learning in this particular Codelab is going to be how to set up a Python environment, how to create a simple personal assistant using ADK, and we're going to be looking at how to run, test, and even debug the agent. Now once again, requirements are pretty straightforward: a working computer, reliable Wi-Fi, a Google Cloud project, and a curious mind, of course, to learn. Now this is just once again the same introduction that we talked about. What are agents? At the core you have an AI agent, or at the core you have an LLM, that's the brain to understand it, and you have tools and stuff like that. You can spend time reading it, but we'll move forward to the next part. And this part is again configuring your Google Cloud billing account. So you can follow these steps to do that. But once you are done with the steps, let's go to our console.google.com. So the first thing that I'm going to be doing is typing in console.cloud.google.com, which will open up my Google Cloud console. And the first step that they've mentioned is to launch the Google Cloud Shell. So I'm going to click on Activate Cloud Shell. And the first thing is going to be telling me is Cloud Shell needs permissions to access your credentials. So just click on Authorize. And in a couple of seconds, your Cloud Shell should be ready and good to go. And if I go back here, it's telling me the similar steps, that is to authorize the Cloud Shell. And the first command that we're going to be running is to see whether the correct Google Cloud account has loaded in or not. So I'm going to paste in the gcloud auth list command. I'm going to click on enter. It tells me my current email address, and I can see that we're good to go. And you can see we've got a similar output that says you should get your email address here. In case you want to switch accounts, you can use the gcloud config set account and the email address that you would want to set. Now the next thing that we're going to be doing is checking if our current Google Cloud project is correct, and that command is going to look something like this: gcloud config list project. So it's going to be listing the current project I am in, and if you're fine with it, you can move forward. But in case you're not, you can always change it by saying gcloud config set project and the ID of your project that you'd like to set. After which we need to enable all the required APIs for this current Codelab. So I'm just going to say gcloud services enable. And it's done there. So our setup part, or configuring the Google Cloud Services part, is ready and good to go. So I'm going to click on next. The next step is going to be creating the Python virtual environment, installing ADK, and setting up the entire environment for working. So I'm going to check if currently UV is installed. So I'm going to say UV version. And I can see, yes, there is a UV version that's there. Now I'm going to be creating a new folder here. So to create a new project folder in your agent. So I'm going to copy this particular command, go back to my cloud console. I'm going to say UV init AI agents ADK. And you can see it has initialized a new folder at my home directory. The next one is obviously going to be going into the particular folder. That's going to be CD AI agents. And the next command that I'm going to be running is creating a virtual environment. So I'm going to say UV VNV -- Python 3.12, and you can see my environment is ready and good to go. So I'm going to copy this particular command to activate the environment, and our environment is ready and good to go. After which we're going to be now installing the Google ADK library using the UV add Google-ADK. And you can see it has begun installing the ADK library. And I'm going to go down here, and the next command is just going to be checking if you have the Google ADK installed on your Cloud Shell or no. So I'm going to click on enter, and I can see, yes, I have Google ADK 1.15.1. So we are all set and good to go. We have our environment ready, we have our cloud services ready, and we have the Google ADK library installed. So I'm going to click on next. And the next step is going to be creating our agent. So now that we have our development environment ready and good to go, there are going to be three main files we are going to be working with. First is going to be the agent.py file. That's going to be the heart of your agent. So it contains the primary Python code that we're going to be interacting with. You have the init.py file that marks the directory as a Python package. This is very crucial for ADK because it helps discover and load your agent definition from the agent.py file. And then we have the .env file that is used to store sensitive information like your API keys, project IDs, and much more. But for now, don't need to worry about all of this. Let's go and run the next command. The next command is going to be creating my personal assistant agent. So I'm just going to clear this out. I'm going to make it more visible for you folks. So I'm going to clear this, and I'm going to paste in the command here. So you can see it says UV run ADK create. So this is your command to create a new agent, and you name the agent here. So I'm going to click on enter. And you can see the first thing it tells me is to choose the model for my root agent. So I'm going to be choosing the Gemini 2.5 Flash model. I'm going to click on enter. Now it's going to be telling me to choose a backend service. If you go back to the Google Codelab, it's going to be showing you the same. If you select Google AI, you'll have to go to your AI studio and make an API key, copy it, put it into the env file, and be ready there. But for now, since we're following the particular Google Codelab, I'm going to choose as Vertex AI as my backend. I'm going to click on enter. Now you can see the next thing it tells me is to enter a Google Cloud project ID. This is set, so I'm just going to click on enter. My Google Cloud region is going to be US Central 1. I'm going to let that be. And you can see the agent has been created in my home directory inside of the AI agents ADK, personal assistant. And you can see the 3 files that have been created are the .env file, the .initpy, and the agent.py file. And if I go back here, this is what the output typically looks like. And once you are done, let's go ahead and open up the editor. So I'm going to go back to my Cloud Console, and you can see this button here that says Open Editor. Just click on it and it opens up a new editor for you. And while we're at it, let's go back to the Google Codelab, and it's going to be telling us to explore each content of the file. So once the editor's up, you can see the editor is up and ready and good to go. So I'm going to open up my AI agents folder, inside of which I can see my personal assistant agent, inside of which I can see the init.py file and the agent.py file. Now if I inspect this, I can see it's imported, it's done some imports here, it's declared the root agent. So whenever you're building AI agents in ADK, the first step would be to declare it as a root agent, then the agent, the model, the name of the agent, description, and instruction set. You can see the init.py is just a simple from.import agent. If I go back here, this is what they're breaking it down, understanding what it is and what's all going on here. But if I click on next, the next step is going to be running the AI agent. So I've created a new terminal here, and the first thing that I'm going to be doing is just do a cd into AI agents ADK. And the next command that I'm going to be running is the uv run ADK personal assistant. So now whenever you want to run an individual agent and not test it on the ADK web UI, this is what you would do here. uv run ADK run and the name of the agent that you would want to interact with. So I'll click on enter. And you can see the agent has started working, and it's given me a section here to type in some text. So I'm just going to say, hello, what can you do for me? And you can see instantly I've got a response from the root agent saying, hello, I'm a helpful AI assistant. I can do quite a lot of things for you. And it gives me all of its capabilities here. So I'm just going to give it a simple thing just to tell me who is Elon Musk. I'm going to do a simple question here to see if it can answer that. And you can see it successfully gives me back a response saying Elon Musk, he's best known for leadership roles in several groundbreaking companies, of course, SpaceX, Neuralink, The Boring Company, etc. And once you are done interacting with the agent, you're done testing, you're like, okay, good, this is good to go. Just do a Control-C and you have aborted your AI agent. And this is what they were doing here in the ADK lab too, where you have to test an individual agent. This is how you would interact with it. But as I'd mentioned before, ADK provides an interesting way for us to test our agents. That's going to be the development web UI. So if I copy this particular command and I say uv run ADK web and I click on enter, you can see it's instantly opened up my ADK web server for local testing. So I'm going to open this up here in my new tab. And the first thing you can see is it has automatically selected my personal assistant, and it's given me a very nice UI to interact with my agent. So I'm going to do the same here. I'm going to say, hello, what can you do for me? I'm going to click on enter. You can see the difference between the chat interface here and the ADK run command, right? And gives me a nice structured way. And I'm just going to say, who is Donald Trump? I'm going to put in something like that to see if it gives me back a quick response. Yep, and it does that. He's an American businessman, this XYZ. It gives me information quick and fast. And this is the power of the ADK web UI interface, where I can actually test my AI agents. And yeah, this is where we complete the first ADK lab. That's going to be the foundations one. In case you want to clear this and incur no future costs, you can always use these two commands and disable the cloud APIs available there. And that brings us to the conclusion. And this is where you have successfully built your first personal assistant using Google's Agent Development Kit. You have a good, interesting foundation and stuff. So now we'll move to the second Codelab that we're going to be working on now. So the second Codelab that we're going to be doing is the building AI agents with ADK and empowering them with powerful tools. So once again, the prerequisites are exactly same: the Google account, the GCP billing account, and a Google Cloud project. Once again, you can scan this particular QR code and get started with the second Codelab that we're going to be working on today. So I'm going to open that up here. I'm going to go back to the beginning, and this is the second lab, which is continuing on the foundations lab. So you have a good understanding of how to build a basic agent, and now we're going to be looking at it at a different level where we'll be adding more tools and making it more interesting. So what you're going to be learning is giving your agent new skills by building custom Python functions as tools. We're going to be connecting our agent to the real-time built-in tool Google Search, as I mentioned previously. We're going to be structuring a multi-tool agent by creating specialized sub-agents for complex tasks. And in the end, we're going to be integrating a powerful and popular AI framework like LangChain to extend your capabilities. Once again, these are the requirements. Have a curious mind to learn. That's going to be the must. And I'm going to click on next. So the introduction is just understanding again that ADK has a brain, it has tools, it has actions, it can do this, it can do a lot of things. But ADK offers three categories of tools. The first one is the function tool, the second one is the built-in tool that's provided, and the third one is the third-party tools. Now, custom tools are ones that you develop on your own. You have unique requirements, you write your own Python code for it, and that's it. That's the function tools part of it. Where you have built-in tools, these are ready-to-use tools provided by the framework itself, so you don't have to do much of it. You just need to invoke it and mention the name of the tool, and that's more than enough. Now you have third-party tools such as LangChain and Crew AI. These companies provide these tools for you to integrate them, and Google ADK perfectly allows us to do that. So let's get started. Now here the Codelabs mentioning if you're continuing from the path that we have done before, it's all good to go. But in case you haven't, you'll have to do this whole process again. So let's click on next. And the first custom tool that we're going to be building is for currency exchange. So it's telling me, imagine you're prepping for a trip to Japan next month and you need to check the currency exchange rate. And what if you had an agent to just ask the exchange rate from Singapore dollars to Japanese yen? That's the power of ADK, where we're going to be retrieving the exchange rates via a REST API and integrate it as a function tool for the agent. So while you're in your Google Cloud Console, terminate the ADK web server and clear, and just come back to the main code that we're going to be interacting with. So it's telling me, so the first step we're going to be doing is creating a custom functions.py file that's going to be containing my function or the custom function that we're going to be using. So I'm going to go back here. I'm going to go to my terminal and I'm going to say touch personal assistant / custom functions.py. And I can see instantly a new file has been added to my folder. And the current file structure or the folder structure looks something like this. And you should have something exactly same. Now it's telling me to go and open up the customs function.py file and paste the following code. So we'll go back to our ADK. We'll go back to our Cloud Console. I'm going to paste in the code here. Now it's starting off by importing requests. It's declared a function here. It's given a couple of parameters, and it gives me a nice structured description about the function that says it fetches the current exchange rate between the two currencies. It gets the arguments, and these are the returned outputs or responses given. We have the base URL here, that's going to be the REST API or the API endpoint, and we're passing in the following two parameters and we're getting back a response. So it's pretty simple code. It's pretty interesting to see how this is going to be working, but you have to always note the triple quotes. This is known as a doc string. It's a very good practice and it's essential for the AI agent. So whenever your AI agent looks at this as a tool, it reads the doc string information that's available here and understands what the tool is for and when it's supposed to be used, or what inputs are supposed to come and what outputs are supposed to be given. Now we're going to be editing the agent.py file to actually incorporate the new custom functions.py file that we have made. So I'm going to go back to my agent.py here. I'm going to paste in the new code. Now let's understand what's done here. We can see we had this import before in the previous lab that was just importing the agent. Now we are doing google.adk tools import function tool. Now from the custom functions file, I want to import the fix rate function. And you can see in the end, I have mentioned tools equal to function tool.get fx rate. So if you have 10 functions, 20 functions, just keep on putting them here inside of your function tool in case they are in a separate Python file. Right? And we are all set and good to go. So what I'm going to be doing is running the ADK web server. I'm going to pull this up here, and in a few seconds the server should be ready, and I'm going to open this up. And the first question that we're going to be asking is, what is the exchange rate of Singapore dollars to Japanese yen? I'm just going to close this. I'm going to paste in here. And you can see it instantly gives me back a response that says the current exchange rate from Singapore dollars to Japanese yen is 1 SGD is equal to 116. Right? But you can see it is calling this particular tool, and this is doing it all automatically. So the agent knows what tool is supposed to be called when. It says get fx rate. So this is the tool that's there. You can understand the flow of event, requests, and response, but you can see it intelligently chooses the right tool for the right use case. And you can keep on chatting with it and building more stuff. Now the next agent that we're going to be doing is adding more information to it, such as the Google search tool. So currently if I ask this particular question that says what is the weather forecast in Tokyo, Japan for the next month, the agent should give me back a response saying, I'm sorry, I can't fulfill this request since I don't have the functionality for this. Right? So it clearly tells me it doesn't have the tools or the actions or stuff to do that. So what we're going to be doing is, now we'll integrate the built-in tool. So you can see it's automatically called in here from google.adk.tools, import the Google search tool. Since the Google search tool is an inbuilt tool provided by Google's ADK, you don't have to do much, just import it here and mention it at the end here. So I'm going to copy this code here, go back to my agent.py file, click on save, right? And now that we have pasted the code, the next thing that we're going to be doing is creating the new custom agents.py file. So I'm going to click on copy, where I'm going to be saying touch personal assistant custom agents.py. That's going to be creating the new file for us. I'm going to click on enter, and instantly it creates a new file called custom agents.py, and this is what my current folder structure looks like. Now inside of my custom agents.py file, I'm going to be pasting in the following code, looking at the Google search tool, where it's going to be using that as a tool here, and after which I'm going to be finally updating the main agent.py file that's going to be incorporating that particular tool. So I'm going to go back to my agent.py and paste this code here. And now that we are ready and good to go, let's break down everything that we have here. So we now have a new specialized agent for the Google search agent instead of an ordinary tool, where we're doing agent.tool get agent tool, agent equal to the Google search agent one that's there here. So this is the name, and this is what we've used here. And once we are done, we're going to go back to our console here, and the first command that I'm going to be running is uv run adk web. That's going to be opening up my adk web interface, and I'm going to click on it. I'm going to open it up. The first thing that I'm going to be saying is just hello. It says, hello, how can I help you today? And I'm going to be asking it the same question that we had asked previously, where it told me I don't have the current functionalities to do so, so you'll have to help me otherwise. But I'm just going to say, what is the weather forecast in Tokyo, Japan for the next month? And here you can see it successfully gives me back a response that says the weather forecast for Tokyo is going to be something like this. The temperature, precipitation, sunshine. Here you can see it successfully gives me back a response that contains the temperature, precipitation, sunshine, etc. And compared to the previous response that we got, where it said I don't have the current functionalities to do so, it's performed pretty well. And our agent has now integrated a new tool and a new agent tool with us. So I'm going to scroll down here. You can always keep on chatting, and you can ask multiple questions too. You can even ask about the exchange rate, and we're still going to be giving you a successful response because it is calling two different tools. You can see it's calling the Google search agent tool here instead of the get fix rate. It's automatically going to be thinking and deciding which tool to call when. Now the next and the final one that we have is leveraging the LangChain's Wikipedia tool that we have here. So first off, I'm going to be going ahead and installing the additional libraries that we need. So I'm going to just close the ADK web server. I'm going to clear it out. I'm going to paste these two ones, and you can see it's currently installing these particular libraries. And we now have to create another Python file known as thirdpartytools.py. So I'm going to copy that particular code. I'm going to come back here and paste in. And it says touch personal py. And it says to create a new file called thirdpartytools.py. So I'm going to click on enter. And you can see it instantly creates a new Python file for me here. And this is my folder structure as of now. Now here you can see this is the new third-party tools py code. So I'm going to paste that in here, and let's understand what's happening here. There are a couple of imports here. We are configuring the tool here, and we're giving the tool a more specific description according to our agent. And once we are done doing that, we need to, of course, update the agent.py file. So I'm going to go back to my console, go to the agent file and paste in this particular code. And here you can see we have done nothing too different. It's just importing the LangChain tool, importing from that file that particular function or tool that we need, and mentioning that as a tool in the tools list here. And once we are done, we can now go back and and run the new ADK web server. So I'm going to say uv run ADK web. And it creates that here. So I'm going to refresh this. And the first question that I'm going to be asking it is, tell me more about the history of Kyoto. Or Kyoto. I'm not too sure on how to pronounce that, but that's... And here you can see it has successfully used the Wikipedia tool here. And you can see it gives the root agent. From the root agent, you can see the available tools. It selects the Wikipedia tool and it gives back a response here. This is the entire response, and it gives me the response in a nice way. And here you can see our agent has successfully been built. We have built 3 different versions of this particular agent, where we had the currency exchange one, then we had the Google search tool, and now we leveraged LangChain's Wikipedia tool into our AI agent. You can do more testing and chat with it and understand what all the agent can actually do. If I come back here, this brings you to the cleanup section. Once again, if you don't want to incur any costs whatsoever, you can always delete all your folders, files, and shut down the entire project. Which brings us to the conclusion, and we have successfully completed our second Google Codelab that looked at building AI agents with ADK and empowering it with tools. Now the next steps in your ADK learning journey are going to be looking something like this, where we'll just look at some interesting tools. That's MCP Toolbox for databases and a multi-agent system if we were to build one. Now what is MCP Toolbox for databases? MCP Toolbox for databases translates natural language questions into secure SQL queries. It allows you to easily manage database connection and authentication to your AI agents. Bottom line, it lets you focus on what your agent should do and not how it connects to your data and how to manage authentication, authorization, and stuff like that. You can easily connect your BigQuery datasets or Firestore dataset or Cloud SQL or a lot of datasets that you have. You can connect that to your AI agents easily. Now, what value does MCP Toolbox for databases add? It speeds up the entire agent creation space. Instead of spending time on how your data is being connected, you are looking at how you want to represent or display or interact with your data. That is what is more important. It manages all the complexities of tool interactions. All you have to do is define a particular tools.yml file that contains all your SQL queries and different ways you want to fetch data from your data set. And in the end, this is universally compatible. It's not only for AI agents. Once you build your MCP Toolbox server, you can integrate that into Gemini CLI, into your other Claude editors, and much more. So it's universally compatible, not specifically to ADK or AI agents to be specific. Now this diagram beautifully illustrates what all is possible or what all data sets are possible. I think this is an older image as far as I know, but you can see your MySQL, Postgres, BigQuery that I have focused on, And if you're looking to learn MCP Toolbox for databases, I have the entire course recorded on getting started. You can check that link in the description. But yeah, the MCP Toolbox for databases allows you to connect to all these databases and then mention that server in your AI agents or your IDE for developer assistance. Now, orchestrating multi-agent systems in ADK. Now, multiple ADK agents work together to solve complex tasks, and that is basically known as a multi-agent system. Now, each agent can either have its own instruction set, tool set, and LLM. And ADK supports sequential, dynamic, and parallel agentic flows. Now, these are a couple of ADK agent workflows where you have sequential models where everything happens in a sequence, right? You have parallel models where things work in parallel, where one agent's doing something, the other one's doing something else, and everybody's working together. Then you have the looping agents where they're in a loop. If you have a writer agent or a writer multi-agent architecture, one agent could be reviewing the content, another agent could be generating images, one is an SEO agent. So you could have multiple agents in that, and these are the ADK agent workflows currently available. I'll be leaving multiple resources in the description around MCP Toolbox for databases, ADK's agentic workflows, and how you can create multi-agent workflows using ADK. Now, just to give you a recap of this long video that we have had, this is a recap where we looked at the introduction, where we talked about evolution of AI, how AI agents work, what are the available frameworks out there, and then we spent a good amount of time laying the foundations of Google's agent development kit. We then walked through two Google Codelabs, that was building AI agents with ADK, the foundations one, and the second one where we looked at empowering your AI agents with tools. We looked at the currency exchange tool, we added the Google search tool, and we even integrated a third-party LangChain Wikipedia tool. In the end, we looked at multi-agent systems, understanding what they are, and MCP Toolbox for databases that looks at AI agents talking to your data. Now, next steps that you could take after this training is going to be building your own custom tools. Try grounding your agent in company docs using the memory API. Experiment with Google Cloud Run or the Vertex AI engine for real-world deployments. Create your own multi-agent workflows for your internal stuff. And in the end, if you're looking to get more practical and take it to the next level, wrap it all in a Streamlit or Flask UI for demos to give it a own customized user interface. Now, in case you'd like to give me some feedback, this would be very helpful for me as a trainer, as a teacher, as a speaker, where if I could get feedback on things to improve, topics to talk about. Now, resources, I'm not going to let you go without a good QR code full of resources. You have the ADK walkthroughs. These are all resources that I myself used to study ADK when it was released back then, and these are the foundation labs, foundation documents, and documentation that I use to be a good enough AI agent developer as of now. So scan this QR code and get started now. You can find all my socials here. They're all Arinrani123 on the entire digital spectrum. And that's all for this training. I'd like to thank you so much for taking the time out and listening to it. If you have any other questions, you can drop them down in the comments. And this is part of my training efforts that I'm doing to educate people. So if you're interested in more trainings, you can check out the Google Form link in the description. And if you like this video, then don't forget to like, share, and for more content, hit the subscribe button. I'll see you in the next one.